Alright, starting off the next figure review, we do got Kraglin here, sporting this brand new design that we've seen similar to the red jumpsuit. But of course, the newest thing being here is the red mohawk from Yondu that we do have with the arrow. Right here, I just have the, like, it's coming out of the pocket and flying into his hand. I think that's a really cool design I have going on right now. Overall, I do like the idea of it. I do like that. Hopefully we see him a lot more trained with the arrow and knowing exactly how to do it like Yondu did in the first two movies. But just going ahead and jumping right into this. This is the figure for Kraglin, and let's go and get into it. As always, here's some promotional art showing the design that this figure is based off of. Overall, I think it is pretty similar. I am using, I believe it's going to be a movie poster for Kraglin showing off his design. Overall, I think he looks really well in this. I'm going ahead and removing the actual arrow that I have right here. Putting it to the side. He does come pretty well. Overall, the figure feels nice, doesn't feel cheap, anything like that. One thing I'm starting with mine is right here at the elbow. I'm afraid that it's gonna like pop out. I'm not sure if it's just mine or if that's how it is with all the figures of him. But overall, I do like the design for him. I think it's very good. I'm glad that we didn't just kind of leave Yondu's arrow to no one and it was actually passed on. I'm kind of excited to see what he does with it. Hopefully he has a different way of using it than Yondu did. But let's go ahead and jump right into this. Firstly, for accessories, he only does come with the arrow. It's similar to the one that we've seen in the past for Yondu. I don't think there's any differences at all. It looks great. I have it, like I mentioned, just in his pocket, like if it flew into his hand. But if you find other ways that you can go and pose it, please let me know, because I've had a hard time figuring a way to have this kind of attached to him but still look really cool and not get in the way of his overall, you know, posing. But this is the only accessory that you do get with him besides the Build-A-Figure piece. Taking a look into articulation for Kraglin, firstly with the head, you can go and get him looking up quite a bit, looking down not so much. With the arms, you can go ahead and get it into about 9 degrees. He does have the bicep swivel. He does have double jointed elbows, but it looks like he still has the pins, which is really weird since majority of the figures in this line did get new pins, like pinless technology. And from what I'm seeing, it does look like it's very similar to Quill's design. So it doesn't even look like it's a new piece for up here. It looks like it's very similar, just added painting around it. I could be wrong about that, but overall I would have imagined they would have done new for this figure, since this is the first time I am seeing that they're using it. I do believe, actually, hold up, to bring in Yondu over here, it looks like they just use Yondu's like arms for this body. Yeah, you see it's Yondu's arms, not Quill's. So yeah, they use the same arms that they used on Yondu for here. It looks like for the legs too, bringing Yondu back in, it looks like the legs are reused. So the legs, arms are reused. It looks like the only thing that's new for this figure is the body portion and the head scope, of course. To go ahead and just finish off the articulation, he can't crunch forward at all, can't crunch back just quite a little bit, but it doesn't even make a difference. This pouch is kind of in the way. It does have a little hole right there where you can just push that into. From what I'm seeing, there's not a way to remove it unless just cutting it off. To go ahead, and he does kick out quite a bit, actually, that far forward, a little bit back. He does have the thigh cup, the double jointed knees, no boot swivel, does bend that far forward, and beautiful ankle pivot. But a lot of the figure, in my opinion, I didn't realize it till actually looking at it next to the Yondu, is reused. His legs, his arms are all reused, which I'm seeing kind of a habit. A lot of the parts are being reused, from the arms to the legs sometimes. I'm only seeing with the lower half of the body being used with the legs, which makes sense, but I kind of wish they would have given us something new for the legs with the pinless technology. But I understand sometimes they gotta cut corners to get it around. The figure is still overall really nice. I like the design of it, but it's not one that I would have actually, you know, had an issue if we didn't get it. But I'm glad to have him with the rest of my Guardians. I have him with them on the shelf, but would have not had an issue if we didn't get him either. I do a size comparison. We do got Kraglin next to Yondu here. I'm seeing that Kraglin is actually taller than Yondu, just standing straight up. Overall, I'm liking both of them next to each other. As you can see, the mohawk headpiece is very similar, but I am seeing additional paint with Yondu's that you aren't seeing really here. You can't really see it with these lights. Let me go and turn it down to see if possibly you'll be able to see the difference. Yeah, you can see that little bit of lighter red with the darker red here that we just don't have with the newer figure. I'm just gonna raise those lights back up. But overall, I do like the design. To do the size comparison between these three, I'm actually surprised to see how tall Kraglin is. I expect him to be actually a little bit shorter than Drax, but to be honest, I don't mind the size difference between them. But I do believe he should have been like right here towards Drax, about the same height as Star-Lord. But he's one of the few members that I'm seeing that doesn't have an outfit. I'm wondering if possibly in the movie he's gonna be wearing one of these, or since because he's a Ravager, not actually Guardians, he's not getting one of these outfits. I know similar to Gamora, we've seen in the trailers that I think she's a Ravager now and is actually working with them, and she doesn't have an outfit similar to the Guardians. I'm not sure if she will be banning one to be similar when they kind of work together, or what's going on in that movie. But this is just a size comparison between these three. I'll let you know this is actually, you know, in scale, because I actually think he may be a little too tall. I'll let you know after I see the movie, but overall this is how they do look together. My final thoughts on Kraglin. To be honest, this figure, it's nice, but I don't think it was a needed figure. If we didn't get him in this line, I don't think many people would have been upset about it. I don't think many people would have had an issue. I honestly think that more people would have preferred Gamora in this line rather than Kraglin. I'm not saying I'm not glad to have him, because I'm always glad to have characters in general for my MCU. I'm still waiting for an Aunt May, you know, to come out so I can have her on my Spider-Man shelf. So I'm not too upset that we got Kraglin, but I think there would have been other figures or people that we could have had from the movies that would have been a better placeholder than him. Overall, I think this figure, design-wise and everything, is a 7 out of 10. You know, it's a pretty good figure if you like the character and you want to be a completionist. I think this is a figure you should get. But overall, myself, I didn't really want this figure. I got him because I need him for the Build-A-Figure piece. I would rate him on my personal level probably a 4 out of 10, just because it's a lot of reused parts. The only difference between the head and the body, and even with this body, he can't even crunch forward, crunch back, or even do much. Doesn't even have a waist cut. Overall, I am really disappointed with this figure. I think they could have done a little bit more with it. The only accessory, like I mentioned, was this arrow piece, but we've seen this one before. This is the exact same one that Yondu had. They could have given us a different one, given us just the arrow piece just so he can have it holding his hand, or even just in the holster, because they give us a holster for him to carry, but they don't just give the actual you know, arrow. Like, you can have it like with flying in, but I think some people would just prefer the arrow itself. But that's just me being a little picky. Maybe extra hands, but or a whistling head, because that's how you do use the actual arrow. But of course, Hasbro's been, you know, not that well recently. Overall, the figure is nice. I'm glad to have him. Not something I think we needed, but once again, if you enjoyed this figure review, please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you feel the same way as me, or if you feel completely opposite and think that this figure was much needed. Let me know down below. I always love to hear your guys' opinions on these reviews. If you watched to the end of the video, I want to thank you, and you guys just take care. And if you binge watching these, I do appreciate it. I'll have a whole playlist just with the Guardians, you know, the Galaxy Volume 3 characters, so if you want to watch them all together at once.